Chapter 15, Righting Wrongs. The day of the Greek off and your charity ball. Rush through the palace halls with Evelyn frantically searching for Clark. We have to stop him, or he'll ruin the whole surprise. You turn a corner just in time to spot Clark. There you are. Princess Rose. Lady Evelyn, it's a pleasure as always. Why are you headed to the ballroom? Well, a certain elusive princess hasn't told me anything about today's big event, and I was getting curious. Don't suppose I could convince you to loosen your lips a bit? Clark? Was that an attempt at flirting? Clark shakes his head, but the hint of mischief is in his smile, and the glimmer in his eyes makes it hard to believe the gesture. If I were flirting with you, you'd know it. That didn't sound like a no. He clears his throat, suddenly looking away as he straightens his jacket. What were you doing rushing after me anyway? I wanted to make sure you were ready. We both need to dress properly for the occasion. I asked the servants to bring both of your formal attires to the royal dressing room as we speak. Evelyn ushers you and Clark into a nearby dressing room, where lavish outfits hang on racks and mannequins. Pick whatever you like best, Prince Clark. Your finest garments have been all ironed out in preparation. You're very thorough. That's Evelyn for you. But pick something nice, Clark. I want to see you dressed to the nines. Oh, challenge accepted then. As Clark steps behind a screen to change, Evelyn grins at you knowingly. I have had something prepared for you too. Check behind the other screen. Evelyn, you really think of everything. After all the hard work you've put into today's events, you deserve a chance to shine. And besides... She leans in to whisper conspiratorially. I think Prince Clark will approve of the color scheme. Argent adoration. It's not bad. Alright, let's go. As you change into the perfectly tailored gown, you're suddenly very aware of the thin screen separating you from Clark. His voice drifts through the screen. Are you dressing to impress me over there? Not everything I do is about you. I know, but I like to think that my opinion factors into some portions of your life. Then you tell me if I've managed to impress. You step out of your changing room, just as Clark does. His eyes go wide as he traces the lines of lush silver fabric down your form. You look... So... I take you like the dress. His gaze flickers across you again, and he smiles. It's less teasing than you'd expect, more admiring. Yes, the dress is quite fetching. Ready to go to whatever this event is? I hope so. Then allow me to be your escort. Clark gallantly holds out his arm, and you take it, heading through the palace towards a ballroom that you hope will be full of welcome surprises. You and Clark step into the Palace of Maine's ballroom and find it awash in Ishmar colors. Members of the press snap photos as noble guests mill about the room. What a He stares at the completely transformed ballroom and at the crowd of guests who have gathered around an animal trainer to one side of the room. You may look, but don't get too close. These are for your creatures. Ah! What a noble beast. Arrgh. Rose, what is going on? A surprise, which you nearly spoiled. Trumpets signal the arrival before Clark can respond, and King Edmund, it still feels weird and exciting to think of him as Dad, strides through the doors to join you. Thank you all for coming to a truly historic event. The room goes silent, except for the snapping of a few photographers' cameras. Every face in the room turns towards you, Edmund, and Clark. But if you're wondering why we're here, I'll leave that explanation to the person who arranged all this. Rose? I should have known. Thank you, Father. You step up before the crowd, But as dozens of faces turn towards you, there's only one person you're looking at, Clark. On my recent visit to Ishmar, I heard the story of their princess, Adya. She was a brave, independent, and an inspiration to their people. But she was taken from them too soon by a rare form of cancer. So I invited you all to this charity ball to raise money in her memory, and on behalf of people everywhere suffering from the same illness. All donations made during tonight's ball will go to international funds for cancer research. Please consider making a donation. For the sake of all those in need. Diseases don't care if you're Ishmar or Monterran, a nobility or commoner. But if we come together and raise awareness, we'll be one step closer to finding a cure. I hope that's a cause we can all appreciate, no matter what kingdom you're from. You're here. There's a moment of silence where you could almost hear a pin drop, and then the crowd bursts into applause. Who knew the princess was this committed to unity with Ishmar? And to wear their colors. What a daring statement. Yep, you missed the whole statement, though. As you curtsy and step aside, you spot Clark among the crowd applauding louder than anyone. So, he doesn't totally hate this. Off to a good start. I couldn't have said it better myself, but enough talking. Let us get to celebrating, and hopefully donating to the cause. As the press snaps photos and the guests turn back to the party at hand, Clark pulls you aside into one of the ballroom's alcoves. Rose, I can't believe you did all this for my sister. Yeah, I did it for you too. He keeps glancing around the almost unrecognizable ballroom, torn between shock and delight. Not just for her. The trip to Ishmar showed me why you've been so cynical about life at court, why you feel like you're just a pawn in someone else's game. But I wanted to show you that it's still possible to make a difference. For... Adya's sake, your sake. I feel like this would be a combination. It would be his sake, but also Adya's. And also the sake of everybody else. What your parents did all those years ago, I've seen how much it hurt you. I know one ball can't make all that right, but you deserve better. And the dream you had for her legacy can still be a reality. That would mean a great deal to me. I'm not convinced your court will appreciate the ballroom being symbolically taken over by Ishmar. He takes a deep breath, fixing a smile back in place. Except it's less cocky than usual, more genuine. But if anyone can make this possible, you can, so what's next? We host the ball, try to get the court to open their Monterran wallets. You turn to scan the crowd with Clark, overhearing scattered conversations. The ambience in this room, the potential. One feels as though a twist of fate could make anything happen. It's lovely that we have a chance to show support for such an important cause. Looks like the court is open to the idea. I just hope they do more than smile and congratulate themselves about it. Then we better start shaking hands and appealing to the better nature of anyone who has one. Yeah, see, listen, he's still a cynic, but I'm supporting him. I see a good place to start. You lead Clark over to a man beside a small pin holding an elegant hawk on his arm. They're adorable. Look at those happy, squishable little faces. I'd be happier if you donated to tonight's cause. Well, how can we say no to that? As Lord Norman and Lady Josephine head over to one of the many donation boxes set up throughout the room, Clark turns to the trainer with a smile. It's good to see you again, Omar. I'm guessing Aaron is responsible for this reunion. Only partly, Your Highness. They told me Monterray's princess had a role in my invitation. Clark glances over at you, the surprise on his face quickly vanishing beneath a smile. A warm, affectionate smile that he doesn't try to hide. I should have guessed. Thank you for inviting him, Rose, and thank you for coming. It's nice to see a few faces from home. Would you like to say hello to Yasmin, Princess LaRose? He nods at the hawk on his arm. I thought you'd never ask. As you reach out gingerly, and as Omar murmurs a few words to the hawk, she inclines her head and lets you scratch the feathers on top of it. Hey, girl. You're a pretty bird. You're also welcome to cuddle Dara over there if you like. She's so cute. I'd give anything to cuddle her. Then have a seat. You sit down beside the pen as Omar gently sets Yasmin down on a perch. He reaches into the pen and lifts Dara out, setting her in your lap. That's a friendly growl, right? Absolutely, Dara wouldn't hurt a fly. How do you feel about pets, Dara? She nuzzles your hand, and when you scratch her head, and behind her ears, she wriggles her whole body so enthusiastically that she falls over, her legs flailing in the air. Even if the rest of this ball is a disaster, it's all been worth it for bear cuddles. Would you say that the cuteness is almost unbearable? But you roll your eyes at Clark, but you can't help grinning at the intentionally awful joke. No, that was not awful. That was good. I would. Now let's get out of here before you find any worse puns. I'll be right over here all night if you need more than with these two. Spotting Abilene speaking to a cluster of nobles, you lead Clark over to join them. You're not sure about donating, but it's such a noble cause, Lord Gregor. Noble and single-minded. There are plenty of causes that could use money. I don't see why I owe anything to this one in particular. I'm sorry you feel that way. It's a delightful idea, but one only has so much money to go around. The fates warned me against overextending my budget this season. Well, in that case... why not start with a small donation? Think of it as a show of generosity. Yeah, why not start small? I'm not asking you to fund decades of research single-handedly. Just give whatever you can, no matter how small, to an important cause. Gregor glances at Agatha, his grumpy face unreadable, but when Agatha nods, he does too. I'll consider it. Yes, perhaps I can manage a small donation if I buy fewer fascinators this year. Thank you both. Every donation makes a difference. It's true. As you turn from the group, you notice a small crowd gathering around a buffet table. What's going on over... There you two are. Clark, let's show these Monterrians how we eat Ishmari blue crab. Care to join us, Princess? Sure, of course. Aaron slides a plate of hard-shelled crab over. Other nobles are staring at their own plates, muttering thoughtfully. Should I use a fork and knife, Princess Rose, or is this contraption on the table? Is it a tiny pair of tongs? That's a great question. Maybe I should have ordered something a little simpler for the catering, but there's only one way to find out what works. I'll use the tong-like contraption. As you pick up the device, you realize it's perfect size to hold one of the crab's claws. You gingerly fit one inside and squeeze. Going for the claw first, a bold choice. More like the right choice. Clark winks as he cracks open the other claw beside you, and soon nobles all around the table are following your example. So tender, the crab is divine. New royal dining motto. When in doubt, reach for the most confusing thing on the table. It's true. A few reporters snap photos as you finish demolishing your crab with all the decorum you can manage. But then you suddenly hear raised voices, not inside the ballroom, but from an opening door leading to the nearby throne room. Any idea what's that about? Probably Cecil. No, but I'd love to know. A small crowd has drifted into the throne room, some of them chatting, eating hors-d'oeuvres, when one voice rings out above the rest. If you ask me, this ball is a waste of precious time and resources. Yes, the cause is noble. I feel like there's about to be a but. But if Ishmael wanted to honor their princess, they should have thrown their own ball. Why honor them when many of our people struggle to make ends meet? That pompous dirk is not about to undermine all my hard work. Some guests nod at Cecil's words, others glance around uncomfortably. You seize the moment and step up beside him, plastering on your best princess smile. That's an excellent question, Lord Cecil. If you feel so strongly, then support this cause on behalf of our people. You shouldn't need me to remind you that a disease like this isn't about you or Monterey. It isn't about any of us. The crowd rumbles with agreement, and the nods Cecil was getting earlier turned into glares. Yes, of course, Your Highness, you're right. I'm well aware. How exactly can I donate? There are donation boxes set all around the ballroom, if you'll follow me. Several nobles chime in with interest. Clark gives you a subtle wink. You go on. I can take it from here. You heave a sigh of relief as you leave Cecil and the crowd behind, but almost as soon as you step into the ballroom, someone claps a hand on your shoulder. I'm proud of what you've accomplished here tonight, Rose. Thank you, but the night's not over yet. Even so, I remember a time not so long ago when you almost never planned a ball. You arranged this one almost single-handedly. You think back to the day you met Rose in the conservatory, and how trapped she felt in this palace. Respectfully, Father, I remember a time when you didn't trust me with them. You're quite right. No matter how much I wanted to shield you from the burdens of leadership, you clearly have a knack for it. And you've always had confidence in spades. Why, I remember that incident with your mother's imported marmalade. That's right, Abilene told the story at the slumber party. I rubbed the marmalade all over myself because I love the scent so much. He laughs heartily. What a sight that was, but you were adamant that it was the only way to accomplish what you wanted. I've been seeing that same can-do attitude in you again this past social season. It's been a delight to witness, my dear. Thank you, Father. Let me see here. I'm glad you're finally trusting me with royal responsibilities. I think I've done pretty well. All I needed was a little encouragement. He nods solemnly and pats your shoulder. I regret not giving it to you sooner. Thanks, Dad. Father. Your Majesty. That is relatively new epitaph, but I like it, and I'm pleased to see how close you've gotten with Prince Clark. It's hard to believe that you'll be hosting his farewell ball in a few short days. With a jolt, you realize he's right. After everything you've accomplished here, everyone you've met, soon you'll have to say goodbye for good. That's true, the season's ending so soon. I'm quite eager to hear if the Ishmari prince has any burning questions for you before he leaves court. Edmund raises his eyebrows teasingly, but your stomach does an odd flip at the thought. If Clark ever wanted to propose, he wouldn't be able to ask the real you. I suppose we'll see. We'll have a few special guests that night, have opinions on the matter. Edmund waves across the hall. Prince Clark, your Majesties, come join us, why don't you? Clark crosses the room with an oddly wary look on his face, and you turn to see King Idris and Queen Layla approaching from the other direction. Greetings, King Edmund, Princess Rose, Clark, Father, Mother. King Idris, Queen Layla, it's an honor to meet you and host you in Monterran. I hope you found your stay welcoming. Indeed, your choice of decor was certainly a surprise. I know you didn't come for the ambience. Why are you really here? We wanted to know what possessed you to return on your own, so we came to see for ourselves. Yeah, let's be honest, a king and queen aren't going to secretly make it their way back into a foreign country that basically has hostilities with them without it being known. Your Majesties, you've seen how much we're honoring your kingdom. I think tonight is proof enough to why Clark wants to stay. I have to admit, the effort has taken me by surprise. I was not expecting anything like this in the halls of Monterran. Even a kingdom as ancient as ours can learn to bend the tradition, King Idris, for the right cause. Despite her cool demeanor, Queen Layla flashes a brief hint of a smile, and Clark grins at you. This was all Princess Rose's idea. She did this to honor not just Ishmar, but Adia too. Layla and Idris glance at the crowd surrounding Aaron as he helps collect their donations. Not everyone at once. I can only accept so many donations at any given moment. You're doing your best. I know this is for a good cause. All things considered, I'm glad you've made an impression on Monterey, Clark. I can see why you fought to come back. If Monterey is willing to put in this much effort, I have to do the same, Father, do otherwise would be terrible for Ishmar's image. We can't let that happen. I suppose we should reserve our judgment until the end of the season. That's all that I ask. At the precise moment, the music changes to a waltz. Now, if you'll excuse us for a moment, I'd like to borrow the princess for a dance, assuming she's willing. Since you asked so nicely, I am. As Clark leads you away to the dance floor, your dad gamely tries to make conversation with Ishmar's monarch. So I hear you like to dance with Swords and Ishmar. They just make for interesting dance partners. Your elegance is unmatched. If you could bring some out, I could show you. We usually keep the armory locked during balls, but I suppose in the spirit of cultural exchange... King Edmund leads Idris and Layla away as Clark spins you into a rhythm of a dance. I'm gonna hand it to you, you've outdone yourself. My parents are here and trying not to tear down the decorations. Should you be surprised at this point? Mending fences is basically my thing. You spin around in your new line of sight, you see Aaron tallying up donations. Ishmar thanks you for your patience, and so do I. We've got a very good total at the moment because of your kindness. You wouldn't happen to be able to donate your time to a kind noble like me, would you? For you, Lord Norman, I donate an entire evening. After seeing Monterrans honoring the memory of an Ishmari princess, I have to agree. You've done something incredible here tonight, and it means the world to me. He swirls you away from the main crowd of dancers, leaning in close, only you can hear. You've given me plenty to think about when it comes to royalty power and, well, more personal matters. There's something important I'd like to tell you. A chance for some Clark secrets? I'm intrigued. I thought you would be, but after everything you've done for me tonight, I'd like to do something special. Are you asking me to sneak out of my own ball? Only because I'm an expert at disappearing from balls unnoticed. I promise we'll be back before our families are any wiser. The question is, Princess, do you trust me? Clark? I do. Great. Now follow my lead. We're going to slip out quietly. As the waltz continues, Clark reaches for your hand, leading you towards the back door of the ballroom. But just as you reach the door, someone runs out of the crowd towards you. Princess Rose, Prince Clark, I've been wanting to chat with you all night. That's great to hear, but we were just about to take care of something real quick. What do you need? Can I help? Ah, you see, it's a funny story. He flashes a classic Clark smile, practically oozing with charm, then he nudges you with his elbow. Tell her, Rose. This man just threw me under the bus. You see, Josephine... Clark bet I couldn't run 50 paces in these shoes, and I'm taking this bet seriously. The fate of our nations could hinge on it. Oh my! So we're stepping outside because it would be improper to run around at a ball. And because it would be improper to publicly rub my victory in Clark's face. As you nudge Clark with your elbow in retaliation for putting you on the spot. Yes, show Prince Clark why you should never bet against Monterey. I will, but you'll have to keep our secret, won't you? Of course, Your Highness. Waving goodbye, you and Clark briskly walk out of the door, holding back your laughter until you're safely out of the palace grounds. I thought you said you were an expert at leaving parties. I am, we just had to be creative. You mean I had to get creative? Josephine wouldn't believed anything you would have believed anything you said, so I let you come up with the story. Call it a team effort. You have an interesting definition of team. You handled it better than Adia ever did. I think she would have liked you. Which is odd, since you two certainly didn't exactly get along the last time you met. Rose is lucky she got to meet Adia all those years ago, but since the real Rose isn't here, in my defense, it's hard meeting new people. I was still learning how to do princess things, not to mention visiting another kingdom. I understand. It's hard getting shuffled along on a diplomatic visit you don't really care about as a kid. That's why I got out of as many as I could. Ah, so that's where you got your so-called expertise at leaving balls. Reach the edge of the palace garden, and Clark holds up a handful of vines to reveal a narrow passageway through some stonework. Come on, it's through here. Passing under the vines, you find yourself in an old, unused part of the palace. The years have turned it into a crumbling but beautiful ruin. Wait a second, I've heard of this place. It's in my royal history lessons. Isn't this where Ishmar almost breached the palace 3 centuries ago during an attempt to invade Monterran? Lost in the history for a moment, you step forward, running your hand along the old ruined walls. I'm sure Monterey celebrates it as the day where the invaders were driven back. In Ishmar, history paints it as a missed opportunity. Why did you bring me to a place where our kingdoms have once fought so bitterly? He steps closer to you, his hand brushing along the flowers blooming on the vines. Because it's a reminder of our country's pain, or our kingdom's. A monument to the wound that aches to this day, according to my parents or some of your nobles. But I've learned that you and I see this place, our pasts, differently. We see that out of old wounds, beautiful things can grow. Clark steps even closer, plucking a flower from the vine above you. Clark tucks the flower behind your ear. If that ancient battle between our people had never happened, this flower would have never grown here, and I would have never had a chance to give it to you. Clark, I didn't know you were a poet, too. Who are you, and what have you done with the real Clark? He's a clone. I'm still the same person you know and loathe, but I can do more than just annoy you. Oh, because you're so multi-talented. It's true, I can go from wry to charming at the drop of a hat. The corner of his mouth lifts up in a smirk as he reaches down and takes hold of your hand, squeezing it gently. And I can be serious once in a while, too. Thank you, Rose, for everything you've done tonight. His gaze locks with yours as he smiles softly, just a breath away from you. Before you can think any better of it, you lean into him, pressing your mouth against the warmth of his lips. Your hand slips up the back of his neck, just as his hands find your waist, pulling you flush against him. Your heart leaps at his touch as he smiles another kiss. Rose, Shh, don't talk, just kiss me. That can be arranged. His hands slide up your back as he deepens the kiss, sending a thrill rushing through every inch of your body. Before you know it, your back is pressed against the wall, your hands gripping his shoulders, savoring every moment. Trailing kisses down his face, you lean into the curve of his neck, your caresses drawing soft gasps from him. Someone's adventurous. Maybe kissing you on the lips was getting old. You kiss him again, and he groans approvingly. I feel like I should be offended, but I'm finding it hard to complain. Eventually, you break away, your breath ragged as Clark's gaze meets yours. What is it? Rose, I brought you here to say that you mean a great deal to me. It's not your name on his lips, but it is you he's looking at. More earnest than you've ever seen him. Only a great deal? Okay, something or somewhere between a great deal and an unbelievable deal. I never expected that to happen. This trip was supposed to be an empty show of courtship. I didn't think we'd be able to tolerate each other, and yet it's become so complicated. You take a deep breath, weighing your next words carefully as you think about everything you've been through together and his life waiting for you outside the palace walls. Clark... Things have gotten complicated for me too. Good complicated. I know there's a lot about the future that's out of our hands, but right now, all I know is that being with you makes me happy. And I'm grateful for that, no matter what happens. I'm not sure how I fooled you into enjoying my company. Perhaps we're both a bit of a mess. But that's why we work. We're one big royal mess together. Speaking of messes, perhaps we should get back before someone notices we've gone from our own party. You're right, but thank you for bringing me here. You trail your hand along the vines one last time. I'm glad I got to see this place. I'm glad I got to share it with you. He offers you his arm, escorting you back through the palace grounds and back towards the ballroom. Tongue-tied, as you and Clark slip back into the ballroom, he smiles at you one last time. I suppose we should get back to this charming crowd. Yes, as soon as the press finishes snapping photos of how elegant we look together. Cameras flash light the room as Clark turns to wave at them. But among the reporters snapping photos behind him, you spot someone oddly familiar. Daisy? Oh no. Oh, look at that. Literally, Pixelberry had the same reaction. What? I know the press can be a pain, but they're not that scary. As Clark smiles at you, you see Devin turning away in the crowd, heading for the exit. Right, but my hair isn't photo ready. I'll be right back. Okay, no. Oh my god, you're an idiot. You're about to blow this cover. You run after Devin, who's already storming out of the ballroom, anger and hurt written across his face. Wait. Devin, stop. Please let me explain. If you just give me a... Don't. Whatever you have to say, just don't. He rushes out of the palace before you can stop him. Oh, no, 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 no. This can't be happening. I have to tell Rose. Meanwhile, back at Julian, all your sisters and your many new pledges are gathered in the living room to celebrate. We really did it. The house is saved. Who wants more champagne? I would like to hold the bottle. No way. You don't even drink. You're just gonna shake the bottle and make it spray everywhere again. What's the point of carbonated beverages if you don't do that? Hold up, girls. I have an announcement to make before we pop open another bottle. Take it away, fearless leader. Yeah, about that. Some of you might have noticed that I've been struggling to make time for the sorority lately to handle things like, your leader should. Don't be down on yourself. You're our boss. We believe in you. Yeah, everyone struggles with work-life balance. I really appreciate that, but I need to step down as leader of the Delta Theta Deltas. What? Why? Because it turns out adding another major to my degree, keeping up my grades, and running this house is more than I can manage. That does explain the all-nighters you've been pulling lately. I thought she was finally becoming nocturnal. Disappointing. But I know someone else who's proven time and time again that she has what it takes to lead our house. That's why I'm officially handing the reins to our other fearless leader, Daisy. Me? She deliberately looks you in the eyes and nods. Yes, you. The Daisy I'm looking at right now. The one who's gotten us through thick and thin this semester. Weird thing to stress, but okay. That's crazy. Is it? You're basically our tour de facto leader. Anyway, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I totally picture it. There are only a few days left of the semester anyway. And then... This is stupid, but okay. I'd be honored to accept. I don't know what next semester will bring, in more ways than anyone but Faye knows. But it would be an honor and a privilege to lead you for as long as I can. Thank you, Daisy. I, for one, am happy to bow to our new overlord. The world isn't ready for us. Oh, hell yeah. Deltas forever! But in all the excitement, you don't notice Daisy's phone buzzing on the couch, your royal phone number flashing on the screen. She's not answering, oh my god. Come on, Rose, pick up. But her phone just rings and rings. Please at least answer your text. You send off one frantic text, then another, and before you can see whether she's replied, a shadow darkens your screen. There you are. I don't have time for one of our fun little chats right now, Cecil. Oh, then you'll make time. Hosting this Ishmari event was a disgrace to the whole court, not to mention your family. This insolence ends tonight. Why on earth do you think I'd ever listen to you? Because of these. He pulls a sheaf of photos from his jacket pocket as he holds them up to you to inspect. You freeze. They're pictures of you, or at least they look like you. You stare at photos of Rose walking beside Devon on campus. Oh no. Oh yes, I've got extensive evidence of you getting awfully close with some commoner journalist. So you're going to do exactly as I say for the rest of the season, and I'll tell the whole court that you've been sneaking out on Clark. Things just went from bad to worse. Unless you can stop Cecil from revealing those photos. Listen, I already solved this shit. I'm serious, I already solved this garbage. Without further ado, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head down description below, links to social media, Discord, view links to support me and my content. Without further ado, I already said what's gonna happen. Goddamn predictable book. Anyway, all we have to do is... Oh man, hey Rose. Hey Daisy. Let's do a DNA test. Okay. Oh look, we seem to be siblings. Oh look, the king is our father. Oh look. Yeah, no, I have a sister, a twin in a way, kind of. I mean, not really, but it's weird. But, look at that, I have a twin sister. Yeah, I know, right? Well, imagine if we went to our father about this, and we brought in Avalon, and yeah, and we made them apprised, and then we just, kept living our normal lives. And then Cecil had nothing to go on because it's like, oh look, a twin. Because even though, like, my mom or my dad went off with whoever, God knows, there's not really twins out there, per se, in this accordance, like sharing the same, like, one parent, right? However, according to the scientific probability, you already have a twin out there somewhere in the world that looks close, if not identical to you. Literally and figuratively. That's why all these people, they find photos of like Keanu or other celebrities and whatnot, that they're like, wow, look at this person in like 1805 that looks just like him. Wow, he must be a vampire. Like, it's just silly, but at the same time, no, it's a thing. It's a thing. You can only randomize a character's face and attributes so many times before you literally and figuratively land on the same person once again. And especially because we're running into, like, we've got like 8 billion people on this planet. Yeah, no, that's a thing. Feel free to look that up because that is confirmed via science. So somewhere out there, there's another me. Somewhere out there, there's another you. And that's just how the shit works. We have a doppelganger somewhere out there in the world. So yeah, love your beautiful faces. Yeah, we're caught up a few days early on this book, so I'm going to be able to work on the other ones. Tomorrow is, or may I say now today, is Wednesday. So those chapters will be coming out later, and I'll cover those. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go crash. I'm going to go get some nap. So, catch y'all later. Peace out.